This is the Team 1 video project by An Nguyen, Christopher Porfirio, Caitlin Knapp, Lise Hollis, about Enlightenment economic ideas from the 1700s to 1900s and how they affect the social change during this period. In the 18th century, the Enlightenment period marks a dramatic social and political change throughout the world history. This development was contributed by impressive achievements of intellectuals who were greatly influenced by the scientific revolution. These intellectuals are literally people including professors, journalists, economists, and social reformers. In our group video, we are going to introduce 4 of those intellectuals whose accomplishments have led to a great transformation in the society at the time. They are Adam Smith, 1723 to 1790, Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883, Alfred Marshall, 1842 to 1924, and John Keynes, 1883 to 1946. When we examine economics in earlier times, we cannot leave out the significant Adam Smith. Adam Smith comes from a Scottish background, and Adam Smith was and still is a great economics teacher, philosopher, and historian. Smith produced one of the most influential readings on the economy and of his career called Wealth of Nations in 1776. Wealth of Nations discusses the theory of a free economy and why it could be the most successful method. What makes Adam Smith so interesting and different is because Smith believed that people should be in full control of their lives in every aspect of it. With people having full control, Smith felt that the economy and life overall would improve greatly for people. Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883, was a German socialist known for his radical ideas on class conflict. His influence became known as Marxism and was popular in the late 19th century and throughout the 20th among workers and intellectuals. The class conflict addressed by Marx was that between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. What he was faced with was an affluent class, the bourgeoisie, who owned the means of production, controlled the government and society, while the proletariat, or working class, acted as second-class citizens. Marxism sought to balance the power of state and production amongst a classless society through violent revolution. His methods influenced socialist parties and policies worldwide, such as the German Social Democratic Party, or SPD, established in 1875, the New Deal policies of President F.D. Roosevelt in the early 1930s, and the Soviet Union, which was dismantled in 1991. English sociologist and economist Alfred Marshall, born 1842 to 1924, was influential in putting forward the idea of economics as a social construct governed in part not by the market as a whole, but by the habits of the society in which the market flourished. Although having published multiple monographs, Marshall's most influential book, The Principles of Economics, published in 1890, built upon several economists that had come before him, notably John Stuart Mill. One of Marshall's main themes in his works was that man develops higher wants over time, and thusly an evolutionary process is at work, or the concept of supply and demand, that it is this need versus want mentality that facilitates the markets, and in turn trade with other markets of the world. It is unclear to what degree Marshall was influenced by the work of Hegel and Marx. He had indeed read and studied them, but in the case of Marx, Marshall felt that the socialist idea was limited and flawed. However, he did see an initial merit in the socialist cause. Marshall's ideas of economics, although prized at the time, have fallen out of favor over the last century due to the changing face of a more capitalistic approach to economics. Keynes's economic principles focused on the role of the government in recession. He noted that during the Great Depression of 1929 to 1939, a lack of investment in private sectors and government spending caused a wasted use of resources. The government should intervene by increasing their spending to facilitate the use of unemployed resources that led to further economic development. In conclusion, as stated in the textbook World History, the role of philosophy was not just to discuss the world, but to change it. By building the foundation from the accomplishments of previous intellectuals, these economic thinkers have greatly contributed to the thriving social development of the Enlightenment period.